Now we turn to section 7, the language exercises, and then section 8, the exegetical exercises for chapter 13. As is the typical pattern, section A gives you a chance to practice your parsing. For instance, the first form is lay more. How would I parse this form? The first tip-off is that I remember that quite often a cal infinitive construct, or any infinitive construct, will be preceded by a lamed. So this is going to be lamed plus, and then typically a cal infinitive construct would be k tol. However, if I were to say l k tol, I can't say that in Hebrew grammatically because we don't do two vocal schwas in a row. Given that typically we'd say lik tol, I might expect li more. However, the presence of the aleph, remember, changes how the rule of schwa functions, and we get lay more. If you recognize that, then you realize we're fundamentally dealing with the k-tol form, which is the cal infinitive construct of, and in this case, all three root letters are apparent very quickly, amar. So this would be glossed as something like saying. Do the rest of section A to practice your parsing of various verbal forms. Now in section B, we turn to working on the text again. For instance, the first example is Genesis 43:3. Vayomer elav Yehuda lemor. Now this is in fact such a short little snippet that we probably don't need to employ the accentuation system to help us divide it into chunks. But I first want to look for a verb, and in fact I find two. I find first vayomer, which at this point you're probably getting quite used to, a cal narrative, third masculine singular of amar, glossed as and he said. But notice I also have a second verbal form. Lemor is le plus a cal infinitive construct of amar, maybe glossed as something to the effect of saying. If you need help on being able to understand this, look back at section A where we undertook to parse this form. So now I have both verbs parsed. I need to find subject or subjects. Quickly we see Yehuda, a proper noun. So and Judah, and to double check, Judah is a masculine singular noun, and my verb is a masculine singular verb, so that works as a subject. And Judah said. Then we have a preposition plus a possessive suffix, el, the preposition to or toward, to, and then av, him, the third masculine singular suffix. And then woodenly, saying. And if the text went on, it would give what he said. This is in fact a very common structure, where if you woodenly read the Hebrew, you would say, and Judah said to him saying, or maybe and Judah spoke to him saying. But what's really going on is that lemor, the infinitive construct, is typically a means of introducing the quotation that follows. So you might well translate this into English simply, and Judah said to him, and instead of glossing lemor, just put quotation marks to begin the quote that would follow. Work on the rest of B to practice your translations in biblical texts. Then turn to section 8, where we begin to address the question of what are called frozen forms. In section 8, we're working to avoid what's called the etymological fallacy. Well-meaning preachers and occasionally well-meaning writers or professors will fall into the trap of letting the origin of a word in its historical language start to affect how they understand what the speaker of a word meant by that. Now, sometimes that's fine. but other times that will lead you into an exegetical problem and cause you to misanalyze or mispresent the text. And Section 8 helps you work on understanding when you can and can't use etymology to help you define and understand a word.